Glory gravestone. This place records the deeds of a great hero. Title no Masakado. Returned from the mound of 10,000 demons. All his suffering became the fire that burned within him. He defeated the false god and closed the blood-soaked arena forever. He freed the slaves and unified Yamatai. The lands of the Taita clan would become the eternal realm. This monument honors his achievements and leaves a warning for those who come after. No matter how glorious the past, madness will lead to ruin. Faded swaddling clothes. A tattered and blood-stained swaddling cloth. It once bore the crest of the Taita clan, but the emblem was violently torn away. Nothing remains to tie it to them. After the shrine maiden of Yamatai adopted the infant girl who fell from the sky, she washed the cloth and stored it deep within the shrine. When the queen held the cloth again, she understood the torn emblem was her brother's final act of clarity. Let her grow up in peace. Schemes Eve. After many conquering battles, Himiko was ready to end all war at the Castle of the Sun, but in the shadows, a conspiracy was brewing. The ceremony itself was the celebration. Bygone days. The city of Shackle Break stood among the mountains of Yamatai. It was said General Sun Hunter proclaimed the slave liberation scroll here. This was a key stronghold in Yamatai. In the past 10 years, the city had changed rulers many times, and each change brought fighting and bloodshed. Each new lord ascended like General Sun Hunter, stepping over the remains of kin, launching raids across the border. My lord, news from the front. The Lord of Shacklebreak was training new formations on the drill grounds. How may I help you? Himiko's forces launched a night raid and took several cities. How did it happen so quickly? I heard the people opened the gates during the night and let Himiko's troops in. I planned to use the terrain to form alliances, but those fools failed miserably. Seems you can only rely on yourself these days. Spread the word. Starting today, we dig deep moats and raise high walls. I will defend it myself. I heard their lord knew he couldn't win and surrendered. Should we? Have you forgotten what we did before? Years ago, we sent soldiers to hunt down the holy maiden, Himiko. Ugh, if only Himiko was as simple-minded as you. Huh? Is that a compliment, my lord? The Lord waved his hand and had him taken away. Unstoppable, unbeatable. I don't buy it. Ha! All this talk of the seas of war is just a lie she spread under the name of the Holy Maiden. Merchants from outside the city brought the same news. Late at night, the war-weary townspeople gathered in secret. They say the Holy Maiden's army is close to Shacklebreak. They say she commands powerful sorcery and can control time on the battlefield. Because of this, her army has endless supplies and can stop a battle in its tracks. My friend saw her from a distance. Maybe the stories about the Holy Maiden are true. The Holy Maiden's messenger said the wars in Yamatai were caused by the seeds of war falling from the sky. She can make the seeds of war wither and completely stop the war. Then we could live in peace. We can't believe that too easily. Only she can see the seeds. What if she's wrong? Tomorrow, the general will lead the army to fight her. Maybe we should wait and see what happens. If Lady Himiko is really as powerful as they say, we should make her our queen. Yeah, it's worth a try. This war has gone on for too long. Even before her army arrived, people in the city had already started to waver. Himiko looked toward Shakabreak in the distance. Their journey began in the twilight corridor. Takashime's moonlight glaive and Himiko's sunlight sword, gained from the arena, cut away the seeds of war growing in the soil. They used the power they gained in battle to build a huge barrier of sunlight and moonlight. It kept the fallen seeds of war from taking root at dusk. Along the way, more people joined them. Inspired by Himiko's vision and kindness, they formed her growing army. Elders who had lost children brought food. Mothers with babies stitched armor. Farmers melted their plows to forge weapons. Their faith came together and turned the shrine maiden's attire into royal garments. They all hoped for a strong and gentle ruler who could finally end Yamatai's endless wars. A secret report from Shakabreak reached Himiko at midnight. As Himiko unrolled the scroll, a phantom image of the city appeared. Shakabreak was the last stronghold before Yamatai Mountain Council. Taking it would clear the path. The mountain council sat directly beneath the ancient Yamatai arena. A formation had to be set there to seal the arena. She planned to end the war there. Shakabreak would be the final step to the throne. The one gathering information and rallying the people in the city was a young village chief from the Twilight Corridor. At the start of the journey, he joined Himiko's army wearing armor given by his village. After numerous feats, he became one of Himiko's generals. His face, shaped by blood and battle, was stern. As he looked toward Shakabreak, hope for the future shone in his eyes. At first, I followed Lady Himiko because of my father's dying wish. He said they were the last battalion sworn to fulfill a promise. No, that promise doesn't matter anymore. I follow Lady Himiko now because I believe she can bring us peace. Now I have my own promise to keep. I want to choose a new name for myself. What name would you choose? I will. He spoke the name he had chosen. It's a good name. You will be a general who can protect this land. The guards on duty were the first to sense something was wrong. The iron-bound city gates groaned as the maiden, cloaked in sunlight, approached with an army like a flowing galaxy. The Lord of Shakabreak led his forces to face Himiko's army on the battlefield. Himiko and Takashihime could see that the seeds of war inside the city had already transformed. Ashen flames formed giant petals. In their centers floated countless battlefields, stirring the wind with violent power. As the city's banners fluttered, the flames began to bloom. Himiko saw that the roots of the seeds of war were buried deep in the city lord's soul. Thousands of ashen vines slithered from his armor, forcing him and his troops to charge at Himiko. The masked warrior stood behind Himiko, the one she trusted to guard her back. They had started with just 2 people, then dozens, and now an army. To everyone, she and Himiko were like the sun and moon, shining together to light up the future of the land. It's time. Himiko turned. The chronojade twin golden suns rose through the sky, forming a great beam of light. As she touched the jade, time seemed to freeze for those rooted by the seeds of war. A golden light of judgment rained down. The unseen vines burst into flames and vanished. It was an effortless victory. Chains wrapped around the Lord's neck, dragging him before Himiko. Himiko looked into his soul. The seeds of war had taken root in his violent heart. Conflict feeds evil, and evil feeds new conflict. That's how the seeds of war grew into ashen flames. What do you see in me? A seed of war, ready to bloom in your city and your soul. Or are you wondering if, without the seed's influence, you might have been a good person? I stepped over my family, even my beloved, to become this city's general. Under my rule, the people truly lived in misery. Maybe that seed of war had something to do with it, but I still committed those crimes. Lady Himiko, if you really want to end the wars in Yamatai, then take out my heart and destroy the seed inside it. If your mercy leads you to spare me, I'll only despise you for it. No, the seed's roots have already corrupted your soul. I have to destroy you. I'm just trying to figure out how not to make a mess here. Himiko raised her hand. The sun's light pierced the Lord's heart, and the roots inside him turned to ash. As the roots vanished, he collapsed at her feet. Cheers erupted all over the city like rising waves. Himiko smiled and accepted the city's loyalty. On the other side of the city stood Yamatai Shrine and the mountain castle at the heart of Yamatai. Before heading to the mountain castle, Himiko paused for a moment, a rare thing for her. The mountain castle is just ahead. Maybe I'll see my old master again soon. He once protected the shrine and taught me everything. Like always, she reached for Takashi Hime's hand, drawing strength when she felt tired and overwhelmed. If other people's expectations are just chains, then you don't need to live for them. But what about your own expectations? They can become chains too. I want to build a new capital on that mountain. And when I do, warrior, I want you to be my general. Takashi Hime didn't respond. That mountain is where Lady Himiko will build the Castle of the Sun and bring peace to Yamatai. But in that bright future, there's no place for the Takashi Hime standing here now. That future belongs to someone else, to your Hime. Lady Himiko, it's time for me to go. Do you think I no longer need your protection? No. It's just that spirits have their own place to return to. And I can't stay here any longer. After leaving the ancient Yamatai arena, a question wouldn't leave her mind. It had been there since the moment she arrived. She had sent Himiko back from the future, but never saw the protector called Everlight from the legend. If she had walked away, the young Himiko would have had no chance of surviving the chaos of war. So she stayed. With her, beside Himiko, the girl walked the path, told in the stories she had heard as a child. When the river of history ripples, is she the one who casts the stone, or just part of its reflection? She had never changed the past. She was the past itself. The parts she thought she had influenced were likely always meant to be that way. Falling petals follow their path to the ground, not knowing that withering is just the other side of blooming. It was all part of a circle that had no beginning or end. Yohime would soon be born. How could two identical souls exist in the same timeline? The Council of the Sun never had a masked warrior like her, so she had to leave, even if Himiko couldn't accept it. I'm sorry. Why are you always like this? You won't tell me where you're from or even your name, and now you're leaving again without a reason? We were so close to making our dream come true. Master, don't tell me you'll be watching from somewhere I'll never see. The future is too far away. Why can't we hold on to what we have now? Fine. At least stay and witness the moment I end this war. Isn't that why you saved me, warrior? At least watch as the seeds you planted finally break through the soul. The generals nearby exchanged uneasy looks. Ever since the fall of Shacklebreak, Himiko no longer needed the warrior's protection. The warrior understood. She spent her days healing the wounded and teaching swordplay among the troops. The Yamatai Mountain Council now answered to the Yamatai Shrine, with the head priest in command. When the army reached the castle gates, they slowly opened. At the top of the steps, under the shadow of the torii, an old man in priest robes met his disciples' eyes. As Himiko stepped onto the first stone stair, he bowed, along with everyone behind him. Lady Himiko, daughter of the sun, this city was always meant to be yours. At last, Yamatai was unified. The people cheered. Messengers raised banners painted by Himiko herself and rode out in every direction, spreading news of peace across Yamatai. While the others discussed how to build a new kingdom, Himiko turned her thoughts to the sky, to the ancient arena that still hovered above. A magical barrier could keep the seeds of war from taking root for a time, but the arena in the sky felt like a sword hanging over their heads. Her master, the head priest, invited her to the shrine. Lady Himiko, you've become a powerful leader, even without our help. I once asked you where you hoped your power would take time itself. Now, you've begun to answer that. I believe your brother would be proud of you. Master, my dreams have outgrown that old question. Call me a traitor if you must, or an unworthy heir to the Taida clan, but I was born in Yamatai, and I want its people to live in peace. That's why I want to end our wars, once and for all. You've already been to the ancient Himiko arena, haven't you? Himiko concealed part of the truth. I reached the twilight corridor and tried to go in, but as soon as I crossed the threshold, something forced me back. Then you know, the seeds of war come from that arena above. If you want to end the war for good, that's what you have to deal with. But if you go there, you'll give up the divine power that was meant for you. Lady Himiko, why didn't you follow the path I gave you? Is it really just because of the suffering of the people? What does their suffering have to do with you? You were once my most gifted student. The old priest sighed and looked at his once most promising student. She was no longer the wide-eyed girl who had left the shrine so long ago. Hardship had shaped her into someone stronger, and his words no longer reached her. And what of the masked warrior? Inside the shrine, the priest's clouded eyes seemed to see through everything. Once you understand what's really happening, she'll be gone, won't she? Are you really ready for that? Child, have you played innocent so long that you've started to believe it yourself? With her, you act like someone who needs protection. But haven't you been using her as a tool to defy me all this time? I don't know how you convinced her to protect you in the beginning, but I'm sure you use pity and pretense. Master, your hair may be white, but your insight hasn't dulled at all. He didn't know what had happened between her and the warrior, but he understood her well enough to know what she was thinking. She turned toward the bronze mirror in the shrine. Her reflection stared back. Then it changed, morphing quickly into a stranger's face. The figure in the mirror watched her, whispering softly in her ear. Memories flooded her mind. Their time together came rushing back. She remembered the scar on the warrior's shoulder, the battles they had fought, the rare moments of peace they'd shared, the blood-stained stones of the arena above, and all the nights the warrior spent keeping her company. When she was afraid, holding her hand gave her the strength to go on. At the beginning, she really had turned her hope and trust into a blade she could wield. Look at me, not through the mask, but with your own eyes. Please stay with me, protect me. If this was Himiko's own mistake, then let the warrior be the one to pass judgment. Must she carry the future of Yamatai while losing the one she holds dearest? There's nothing to feel guilty about. Didn't the warrior break her promise too? The promise to always stay and protect me? Child, you should see your own face right now. The madness of the tidal blood truly flows within you. Why won't you try the path I gave you? Open the arena, take the divine power, then she'll never be able to leave you. Under Himiko and the head priest's orders, they began building the Sun Fortress. Once complete, it would link with the sundial and end the war forever. This was the future Himiko had promised, and the people had waited so long to see it. The Sun Fortress was completed. It was the night before the ceremony. Warrior, head priest. The Sun Fortress is magnificent. Soon, everything will be bathed in Himiko's light. I've heard you'll be going home after the ceremony, warrior. I was never meant to be here. I never wanted to question your decision. But don't you think it's a bit cruel to walk away from Lady Himiko like that? Look at the lights across the castle of the sun. When I saw this view, I knew what I had to do. It really is beautiful. The head priest said he had to prepare for tomorrow's ceremony and left Takayashihime standing there alone. Tomorrow will be the end of everything. Once she left, this place would enter an era of peace and prosperity until one day it fell into a long, endless night. Was that future set in stone? Could it change if she chose to stay? Lady Himiko, is this what you felt back then? Now, after all these years, she finally understood the pain and struggle Himiko carried. The ones who had lost, unwilling to give up power, snuck into the Sun Fortress on the eve of the coronation, planning to kill the new Sun Queen. A flash of cold steel cut across the night sky. A moment later, the moonlight glaive stopped their attack. The blade lit up. The assassins froze when they saw a masked warrior standing before them. Then, one by one, they disappeared, never disturbing the city. You don't need to protect me anymore. I can handle small things like this. I'm used to it. Tomorrow, at the coronation, I want you there with me. She reached out and placed the chrono-jade between them to protect what matters most. Sometimes we have to make painful choices. To disappear is to prove we existed. To say goodbye is to make a future meeting possible. Assassin, just as the seas of war were about to be cleansed, peace seemed within reach at the Council of the Sun, but then Assassin struck, targeting Takashihime and Himiko. Slave Liberation Scroll. All shackles shall be shattered. All bonds shall be broken. This decades-old document records title no Masakato's declaration after he defeated the false god and ended Yamata's slave system. At the time, the people rejoiced, believing a true ruler had come to lead them to prosperity. But beneath this document lie two more declarations. Kill that tyrant. We shall proclaim Lady Himiko as our queen.